Alright, welcome to another Tech Day. For those of you who don't know what this is, it's a series, a show, quote unquote, in which I'm sharing myself, learning, and educating myself on what's new in the world of IT and technology. There will be most probably, like in every past episode, there will be multiple different sections. So I'll most probably put them down in the description. So your viewing pleasure will be enhanced if you are interested in one topic more than another. But. So, for those of you who were following me, you most probably know that we have been doing a lot of Linux. And I think with today's episode, or maybe the next one, we are gonna finish it. And we're gonna start, I think, game development. But without further ado, let's do it. Let us start with Linux, as I said. And this section of the video will be one of the, let's say, most important chapters in Linux programming. I will explain how code is compiled, linked, and connected to libraries, and why we have shared libraries. Hopefully, I'm gonna give some examples. Everything's gonna be fine. Again, I'm learning this as I go as well, so it's not me being an expert and giving lessons to you guys. If I make a mistake, please let me know. Right. Let me call this chapter Linux Programming. Let us give the big picture concept here. From source code to running the program. So the pipeline we need to understand looks like following. We have C source code, which are files with the .c extension. After compiling these files, right here, blue compilation. After compiling these files, we are getting object files. And then we are linking these files with other libraries, and we are getting executables. And then additionally, if we have external libraries or shared libraries, we turn all of this into the running program. Now, what is, because here I mentioned something called compilation. So what is compilation? Or what's a compiler? The compiler is something as a translator. It converts human readable code into machine code that the CPU can understand. So if we write something like, I don't know if I even should be showing this, but let me do this. Okay, I will move my terminal to the streaming window. Boot ASM and boot bin. What was this about? I think I used these files in something that I did. No idea why. What? Doesn't matter. So, hello world.c. And if I do hello world.c, include, will this work? Hopefully it will. Int main I remember how I move. Wait. Ah, no, 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 no. How do I? Oh, shit. Wait. Because I clicked U and U is undo, so I undid all of my work. But I want to redo it. Wait, no. Do okay. All I wanted is all I wanted is to create a new line, and now print f hello. I won't even write world. And if I save and close this, now this is source code. Let me just see what boot is. I think I created like a simple kernel. Let me just do simple kernel. Move boot all of the boots into simple kernel. All right, we only have hello world now. So this is the source code. It's readable to humans. It's meaningless to the CPU. So I can compile it. I can do cc hello world.c. Will this work? ls. Okay, now I have an executable named a.out, the assembly output. And I can run this assembly output with a.out, and it works. I could also name the executable and everything else, but again, so when we compile the program like this, we got a file called a.out, which is the output binary. It's an executable on Linux. It's not a text file, but it's full of machine instructions, binary codes, and the CPU is executing it directly. We can see the structure, we can see the symbols, and even assembly to see what is happening. Let me just also write this. Let me first check type of this. So ELF means that it's an executable and linkable format. It's 64 bits. What else? Yeah, LSB, Litton NDN standard binary. It means that this machine stores multi-byte numbers with the least significant byte first in memory. Interesting. Py executable, and all of these, all of the other jazz, not important right now. But the question I want to ask is whether I can just do, what do you think? Whether I can just do a.out. So let me increase this. I mean, it gave some text, but it mostly threw up some unreadable binary garbage, and it messed up my display, even though here I can see instances. I can see something that could be readable if I could decode more of this garbage here. But okay, I could actually see the assembly instructions by doing object dump a.out less. So this will show the disassembled machine code. And I'm sorry for mentioning this, but I don't know a lot of machine code, to be honest. Maybe use this a bit. I'm looking to see whether I can find anything that resembles the code I was written. But yeah, I don't see. This is the end. But this is the main function. All of this is the main function. I mean, this disassembled code is. I don't think I have enough cognitive power to understand this. So my string is living here at this address. Can I find this address? Are these the addresses? Hmm. So this comment seems that the string is living here, but how? Where do I find it? All right, I just asked ChatGPT, and it seems that this is the puts is the print method, and the actual print is happening inside puts. For some reason, it looks like this. PLT, it says here, it's procedure linkage table, which again, I have no idea what it means. Okay, let me close this. Is this the end? Hmm. There's another way to see some other interesting things using this method. With this method, I could see the symbols, functions, and variables. Ah, puts is here. And main is here as well. What else can I see? I could see the headers. All right. Enough of this. Yeah. Currently the executable is named a.out. I could change the name. by saying cco hello world c, and I could name it hello. If I type ls, there's why doesn't it have this extension? Okay, doesn't matter. Ah, this is only one file. It's a really simple file. I could also compile multiple files because real programs have many source files. We can't just put everything into main.c. So we need to separate our code into multiple .c files. What can I do here? Wait. Let me change hello world.c. But instead of using main here, I'm gonna define void hello call. And then I'm gonna create another. I'm gonna call it main.c. And I think I also could have just done main, open main.c with vim, but I'm not particularly smart. So void hello call. Then I have int main hello call. I can compile both of these guys, I think. Main.c. No input files. No input files. I assume I can't compile hello world either, yeah. Why? Hmm. So I have an issue, and I should link them all into one program. So I can do this main.c hello world.c. There's an issue. There's an issue. Ah, all right. Wait. Vim main. Yeah, there you are. And I also assume that I have an issue here as well. No, I don't. So this will work now. It worked. And now if I run main, I get hello. Amazing. But why can't I run only main.c? Can I? Undefined reference to hello call. Yeah, because I don't have the hello call method. Okay, let me just explain and break down this as well. Um, ls. Let me remove code. I won't remove anything. I will open hello world. Maybe not hello world. I will open main.c. I will remove this line. I'm gonna include math.h. I'm gonna include standard input and output. And here, I'm just gonna remove this. I'm gonna open it again. I'm gonna say printf 14159. If I now try to compile it normally, I say main.c. Wait. Oh, I messed up. So there's an error here. I can't compile it because I don't know why I'm getting this error. Wait. Ah, now it works. Seems like I didn't use the compiler properly. Ah, I didn't do. Okay. All right, I know what's happening here. Keep in mind that C is not the best language I'm working with. So I think the issue here is that I'm trying to print a number, a floating number. I haven't said here that I want to do this. And now, I think this would work. But why? Wait, why does it work? Shouldn't I also need to include the math library as well? Will this work? No. Interesting. I always thought I would need to require the math library in order for this to work, but for some specific reason I don't need it. Which I'm fine. Which I'm fine with. Let me see what libraries is my script using. Alright, interesting. I think I'll stop here. As I said, I'm gonna try to wrap up Linux by today. Let me see what else is there. Okay, we will do make most probably. Compiling. Yeah, compiling will be good. Virtualization. Maybe virtualization will be interesting. I think that's it. Okay, let's close this. I'll leave the terminal open, just no, the terminal, the tablet open, just in case I might need to write something. And let's do probably the funnest part of these videos, and those are the articles. For example, unlocking, let me just refresh this. Unlocking free Wi-Fi on British Airways. Increase this. Okay, I was recently flying between, is this Hong Kong? Could this be Hong Kong? Hong Kong, yes. And what could this be? London? Heathrow, yeah. Actually read a pretty good book on that was based on the Heathrow airport. It's about a zombie apocalypse. Book based on Heathrow about, no, it's not a zombie apocalypse, it was a virus about an illness, everyone dies. Let's see. About a pandemic, wait, about a pandemic. There fucking is, man. Maybe Google knows better. Wait. Heathrow. Epidemic book quarantine. I remember only this rabies. Yeah, this was the one. Rabies. Bestseller. The author has, within the framework of those genres, set up many of the ideas he had been working on in previous published opus. This was a great book, man. I mean, he gave himself some liberties. Like, I remember that the incubation period has been reduced to hours instead of weeks and months. Through multiple plot lines, the story follows subjects as diverse as the tent, espionage, the Israeli. I forgot about this. It was a really fat book. How many pages did it have? Okay, doesn't matter. Good book, definitely. Okay, Heathrow via British Airways. I've done the same flight back in 2023. And remember relying on the in-flight entertainment for the 14-hour. Yeah, oh, I forgot that it's a quite a long journey. Half of your day, more than half of your day. Okay, this time on my way to London, they had an interesting offer: free Wi-Fi for messaging for members of the British Airways Club. Okay, I wasn't a member of any club. It's just the name of their frequent flyer program, like everyone has, let's be honest. Okay, you can sign for this. And then you start the session. And you can text people. WhatsApp, Signal, WeChat, and Discord. What's WeChat? Ah, yeah. I actually worked on this platform a bit. All right, so the first three worked, Discord did not. All right, how does it know? How does it know if I'm using WhatsApp or Discord? That's a great question. One idea I had just somehow kept the bandwidth. So if you're sending a single message or two, it gets through, but something larger would fail. If you open example.com, it should work, but unfortunately it didn't. So there is something more going on. All right. So what did the author do? He connected with his laptop. He opened Wireshark. After opening a web page, there has been a TCP reset in Wireshark. Okay, so these concepts here are mostly network related. Okay, the dev tools, I know what the dev tools are. I've used them a lot. Wireshark, I also use Wireshark. Wireshark is used for sniffing packages, and it captures like raw network traffic. What I don't know is what a TCP reset is. So here say when a connection is forcibly closed before completing the normal TCP handshake. Right after the client hello. I think in the last video we talked about this. Client requests client is extending its hand, and the client is usually your browser, and it says asynchronization message to the server. So most probably the connection stops right after the hello. But this is what I don't know, what SNI. So SNI, and here it says, is an extension in the TLS handshake that includes the host name you're connecting to in plain text. So what is the deal with this? Is there a catch? There is a catch, because the SNI field is visible before encryption starts. Anyone on the network path can see which website you are visiting, even if the actual page content is encrypted. SNI relieves the domain name of every website you connect to before the tunnel is established. Although the actual contents of what you're doing are encrypted, anyone on the wire can see that you connected to it, including ISPs. So there's a theory, and the theory is that there's a set of domains that are whitelisted, and these domains are related to messaging apps. Anything else, and the connection is stopping. So what is happening here? BA, what the fuck is BA? Ah, it's British Airwaves. All right. British Airways is blocking DNS queries to all public resolvers. A DNS query, okay, if we type something like Google or example.com, our computer is sending like a DNS query to translate this name, this alias, into an IP address. And what this means is this allows the airline to control which sites resolve. What's happening here? Connected. All right, so now the author decided to test some SNIs. Server name indicator that might go through. Yeah, because this was used by WhatsApp. If you test it, it will pass in the case of the right TLS certificate. Basically, we used a WhatsApp identificator, and British Airways thought that you are messaging. If I can convince British Airlines that I'm connecting to whatsapp.me, I can potentially do whatever I want over that connection. under the guise of messaging. So requirements were you need to establish a TLS connection using this URL, channel arbitrary traffic through that connection, and do all of this without actually owning controlling the domain. How is this possible? All right, you can use an HTTPS proxy. What's happening here? I have no idea what's happening. Here it says that the auto run a normal HTTP proxy. Wrap that proxy with a TLS tunnel that advertises WhatsApp's page as the SNI, and then the client connected using this SNI. But because the in-flight sensor only looked at the SNI, the connection was allowed and the client could proxy arbitrary traffic through that tunnel. What's tiny proxy? It's a small proxy daemon released under the, okay. Okay, so all programs that support an HTTP proxy can use this port as the proxy. So the tiny proxy was it working? It worked. But let me see what there are some people who are circumventing this on planes and cruise ships. To be honest, I don't understand much of this lingo. Alright, there's a doomer here saying, oh, just a heads up before you attempt something like this. When on a plane, you might be subject to laws you don't know or understand. In the US, of course, it's the US. This could be considered tampering with the aircraft electronic system and potentially send you to jail for many years. Paid $30 for internet access. Alright. What is happening here? First of all, what's Tiny Proxy? Tiny Proxy is an HTTP proxy server. So it can forward requests from clients to target servers. So Tiny Proxy, how is this working? Tiny Proxy opens a connection to a port and pipes bytes between client and remote servers. How is this working? Let me think about this conceptually. Wait. Wait, where is my tablet? It's here. I'm gonna increase this a bit. So I have the client. And then I have TLS, which is a transport layer security. It's the protocol that keeps, okay, our internet connection private and secure. So TLS is encrypting the data between my computer, which is the client, and the website or the server we are trying to visit. So nobody, not even our hacker, ESP, can see or change or read what we sent. It's basically the TCP connection, and I'm sending SNI with WhatsApp. And then I'm going to the S tunnel. Where I'm decrypting, I'm going to tiny proxy, where I'm forwarding. And then I'm going to the internet. Right. So if I was using Ubuntu, I would need to install tiny proxy and that's tunnel. I don't need this, right? I won't do this, but basically, where do I have tiny proxy? A terminal. No. No, I don't have it. Tiny. No, I don't have it. To be honest, I don't want to install anything, but basically, I will need to edit the tiny proxy conf file. Let me go back to this later. I can do this now. Interesting. Let me close this. Another article, why I code as a CTO. Wow. John Wang, many CTOs I know stopped writing code years ago. The conventional wisdom is that as you become more and more senior, the less and less code you write until eventually you're spending your days in back-to-back meetings. That's not how I operate. Here's what my last 12 months have looked like. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. My man was writing code every day of the week. Wow. What I actually built. Long horizon experimental projects. The number of people in an organization that can ship and build substantially new things is actually a scarce resource. Between the organizational structure and roadmap incentives, few engineers can take months to pursue ambiguous bets. I can, and I'm uniquely positioned to take these meaty experimental projects. So, my man had a situation in which he had to build something, an AI chat product. And during Thanksgiving break, he decided to build it and knocked out a prototype. What the hell? Critical customer asks that need to be done yesterday. This happens. This happens a lot. But the fact that you allow, because I have worked in companies that allowed clients' requests to basically derail their whole idea of the organizational structure. I mean, that's an issue of the company. But let's see what the CEO says, the CTO. So, okay, so let's say a customer needs something, it's a blocker for major deals. These situations require someone who can move fast, blah, 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 instead of pulling an engineer off their current sprint. Okay, that's actually quite reasonable. I can often cut through the noise. I already have the context, I know the stakes. All right, so there's a customer, they need full data reduction on one of our integrations for compliance reasons. I built a shipped a working version in a day. What's important, but so there may be a problem and preserve goodwill with the customer. What the customer wanted? Sorry, I missed this. Data reduction. All right. And then bug fixes. It keeps me up to date with that. What? And why the CEO codes CTO? Sorry, I always misgender him. It keeps me up to date with actually works because it's what I love and what I'm good at. AI tools have changed the leverage I have. A few years ago, I struggled to find time to code while handling the strategic parts of my job. As the company grew, I was basically stuck in meetings all day, so operating Alzheimer's even blah 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 blah. But modern AI tools have changed this equation. He's more productive. Okay. I'm figuring out what works for you. Interesting. So let's see what the discussion on this article is. If I'm trying to decide which company to work for and I see a blog post from its CTO crowing about regularly checking in code on Saturdays and Sundays, I start backing away slowly. And when I got to the bit that said AI has made me 3 times as productive, I turned and run. Okay, so the CTO is working on weekends. I think I saw this, yeah. And he pushed a lot of things on certain dates. Man, why are they shitting on Mr. CTO? You know what's the worst thing? This commenter right here that criticized this part of Mr. CTO's article, saying our team has considered potentially having the customer build their own integration on top of our API in order to get around the requirement, and scoping it out properly would have required many meetings across blah blah blah. I built and shipped a working version in a day. So in order to reduce the bureaucracy, he built and shipped something, a solution that they later built upon. This happens in every company, man. I know that it's not something that we should take for granted or normalize, but it happens in every company. I mean, it's okay to shit on Mr. CTO, not because of these things, but mostly because it seems a bit try hard. I don't particularly enjoy building orgs and figuring out people stuff. Engineering management involves navigating interpersonal dynamics, performance reviews, and organizational design. These are crucial functions, but they're not where my strengths lie. Ah, here. Oh, he came back. Johnny Wang. I stand by this comment, and I think it's really important for engineers to recognize that everyone has different places where they gain and lose energy. Alright, so he's doing some damage control. Wow, someone said it looks like you are CTO in the title only. So this is a guy who loves to have hands-on approach directly on the inside engineering domain, and he doesn't prefer interpersonal dynamics, which is okay. So there's a conflict here, and someone said, I'm guessing you are 28, maybe married and no kids. Why is this important, brother? Why is this important? All right, let me close this. Articles like these are kind of hard to parse because there's no well-defined meaning to the title of CTO, which is also actually true. CTOs at any companies are completely different objects, and they have different job requirements, they have different responsibilities, and they have different roles. I think it's completely normalized to what to say that this company maybe requires a CTO who is having a more hands-on approach inside engineering. You know, he's putting his hand with his plastic glove really deep into the cow's anus. Calls himself a CTO, and that's fine, but he's really just a technical co-founder. And that's what he's acting like. And they're trashing my man here. Many companies have a VP of engineering and a CTO. The CTO does more strategic, big picture work, and the VPO runs the day-to-day of managing software engineers, setting standards, etc, etc. I once worked for a company with C-level guys working alongside the rank and file. Smartest guys I knew. I respect this. I respect this. I don't usually like corporations, and I don't like. Let's say this. I'm not a big fan of entrepreneurs and CEOs because I don't think they are contributing to the success of the product at all, apart from their main benefit is being their personality and their image. Like Elon Musk, contrary to what he says, I don't think he does any engineering work. But the way he contributes to the company is by associating the name Elon Musk with the company. Yeah. Many answers are here. A lot. I'm gonna close this. The question is, why are you not doing that is in the list of CTO responsibilities because you are coding? One of the reasons stated why you do this because you enjoy it, and the list of reasons you need to do it is there only have people that can ship new pro. All right. It makes sense. This seems a bit like an oxymoron, yeah. Because as this commenter said, this is the kind of thing the CTO would want to fix. I have a hard time taking someone with the title of CTO seriously if they have no reports and have time to code instead of being concerned with strategy. I had a few opportunities, quote unquote, to be a CTO, quote unquote, that were really no more than a glorified, underpaid senior developer with the promise of equity that will probably be meaningless. This stinks a bit. This stinks a bit. The role of CTO is more about accountability, responsibility, and autonomy. I try to minimize meetings to the minimum necessary to get everyone on the same page about what our next goal is. From there, I'm right in the trenches with my team working to get these sprints done. Sure, it sounds like a senior lead developer, and if you are in a small startup, it kind of is. Which is why, let me go on a tangent here again, which is why these kinds of job descriptions are never explained in a way that responsibilities are concrete and detailed. So this raw anon is really not very cordial. How do you concern about strategy all day? So what is that? All right, so this guy right here said, a CTO is not a serious CTO if he's not concerned with strategy, first and foremost. So someone asked, all right, what does it mean? What is strategy? And so there is a question, there is an answer. I'm a CTO at a 1 billion tech company. There is no doubt that part of my role is exactly this: technology strategy. It is my job to be familiar with a wide range of technologies, which might include tech stacks and tech offerings. The tech offerings means lots of meetings with companies that build tech that we might use. Some of these are useful, most are painful. It's analysis. basically this is the analysis of actually using technology. This is one of the most important aspects of the CTO job. I code all the time, but not for any of our products or operations. I code to learn so I can make better decisions. We use Kafka, for instance, and when we first started using it, I built a cluster in my home lab. So I had a better idea how it worked. The same with Hadoop, Cassandra, and a few different flavors of Kubernetes. The T in the CTO is for technology, but it should be for technical. And perhaps the single most important thing, I try to hire people that are much smarter than I am always. The amount I learn from people that are smarter, faster, better is many orders of magnitude greater and more valuable than the reverse. And all the other things like budgeting, strategies, patents, roadmaps, decisions, etc. This one, actually, let me bookmark this. I want to read this more about this, but now let me kill this. I need to run. I need to hit the gym, and I'm gonna come back.